Financial Fotographs Friday, a Muluvi U production. Red card, not me, referee. Financially Speaking, Chapter 4. Take a moment to check out the book online at www.financialphotographs.com. Photo, F-O-T-O. And now, 3 questions. Did your parents talk to you about money? If so, how did they approach the subject? When is the right time to start talking about money with your kids? Was there a time that talking about finances backfired? This episode is brought to you by Muluvi, living your life and money on purpose. Hi there, it's Kevin Giebert back, reading from my book, Financial Fotographs, How to Talk to Your Family About Money. We're on Chapter 4 today, called Red Card, Not Me, Referee, Financially Speaking. Of the 9 red cards this season, we probably deserved half of them. Arsène Wenger, who was the manager of Arsenal in the English Football League. I played soccer for most of my childhood and even had the opportunity to play in the Canadian Championships in my grade 8 year, which was a great experience. I was an aggressive player but never got my name in the referee's book until a men's league game many years later, when I received a yellow card for what I would say was a fair tackle. I guess I can be happy to say that I never received a red card, although there were a few times in my soccer career in which I bit my tongue, as my words could have led to a red card or two had I voiced my correct interpretation of the call to the referee. It wasn't until I started studying for my first licensing exam that I wished my family had talked more about finances when I was growing up. There was no red card to be given out because it really wasn't a topic that my family engaged in. On the other hand, we were never told that we couldn't talk about money. What we knew was that things were tight and that my parents lived paycheck to paycheck. That was it. Enough said. My wife and I have always talked about money, sometimes too much from my point of view, but it has always worked in both of our favors to know where we are at financially. This wasn't the easiest thing to talk about early on in our marriage, as my financial planning practice was really not established yet and my wife was going back to school to get her educational degree. But we did talk about it, and I am sure it prevented us both from making money mistakes. Outside of client meetings, I'm often in a marketing mindset, and it is easy to spend more money on promotional activities than you take in and forget about your financial responsibilities at home. Outside of my work as a financial planner, I really don't have many conversations about money unless someone else initiates the conversation. Not because I don't want to be seen as prospecting the masses, but because it really doesn't come up unless I am having a business conversation with a client or prospect. With the growth of social media, I am finding that the subject of money, debt, and financial planning is becoming more common, and that is great to see. Sparking conversations about money is the reason for this book. In his novel Insiders, Marvin H. McIntyre writes, "Money is the last taboo. People will talk about their sex lives before they discuss their finances. Is this true? To some people, money is a personal issue of which they don't want to talk about. To others, comparing recent purchases is the topic du jour. What I would be thinking from my financial planning mind is whether the item was purchased with debt or if it is leased. If you don't want to talk about money, how would you respond if someone you were talking to started to talk about debt? Maybe this is the new taboo. In North America, the debt level seems to be climbing with no resolution in sight other than passing the ever-growing debt balance on to future generations to solve. It's time to talk about money and debt no matter how uncomfortable it may seem. As a financial planner, my job is to talk about finances, and I often start the money conversation with debt balances rather than asset balances. My role is to assist in a client's ability to increase their net worth. And one important step is paying down debt as soon as possible and minimizing the need to use debt in the future. I spent a few years presenting a program I called Fun with Finances to grade 11 and 11 students at a local high school, as I wanted to contribute to the money conversation at the high school level. I started talking about money with my son when he was 3 years old. I began the conversation with a simple but repeatable phrase: no work, no money, no food, no toys, no clothes. I think it stuck when my son went from saying, "Dad, don't go to work," to "Dad, go to work." When should you start talking to your family and friends about money and debt? Now. When should you start talking to your kids about money and debt? As soon as you start putting your first nickel in their piggy bank. You are your own referee when it comes to finances, and I would suspect that many would have a red card in hand when someone even remotely struck up a conversation about money with them. I have often found that the best referee in any game is one who is not noticed at all. So the goal of Financial Photographs is to help Canadians put their red cards away and make conversations about money a part of everyday conversation. Thanks again for listening to Chapter 4, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.